right, we're out here at the Redneck Garage about to start work on putting it back together. Where you at?
Redneck Garage.
Yeah, it's his truck, so he's going to say Redneck Garage today. Got to drain the antifreeze out of it. You see in the back coolant patches, I haven't dropped that down yet, and we got to clean off the head surfaces to get it ready to reinstall the head. So that's what we're going to do here in a few minutes. Okay, we're going to take a roll-lock disc and just clean off the mating surface of the head here. We want to clean this off super clean, so I'm going to do that. Alright, so we got this super cleaned off with the Scotch-Brite roll-lock pads, and it's ready for the head gasket. You want to make sure that you don't leave any residue, that it's perfectly clean, that you wipe it down with carb cleaner, blah blah blah. This is your mating surface for the head gasket, so if there's a bunch of crap on it, your head gasket will not seal, so you got to make sure that you do a good job at that portion of it. Then after that, everything's pretty much a little bit easier. Alright, we're getting the head ready to put back in. Mark actually did more work than he was supposed to. He actually cleaned off the valve. You can see that he did some valve work for me. He put new seals in it, and that was really cool of him. I appreciated that. Did you appreciate that?
I did.
He did, okay. We're taking out the old spark plugs, and you can tell that Christian has not changed his spark plugs in, I don't know, ever. Got the thermostat. We're going to go ahead and put the thermostat on before we install the head. We will put the plugs in after we install the head, right?
Right.
Now the next thing we got to do is get us a guide pin. Because there is no guide pins on this head, you can see that it's a completely flat surface. What we're going to do is take a couple of the old head bolts here, and we're going to cut the heads of them off, and that way we'll have a guide pin to put it in. First thing I'm going to do though is go ahead and install the thermostat and housing, so the head's ready to go on. Alright, here's our head gasket set. This is the baby that we're going to be putting on. And that's your valve cover, and it's got all the other miscellaneous gaskets for it. I'm looking for the water pump, and here is the water pump gasket that I'm going to use. These are your injector gaskets. Those are exhaust, which I didn't take off. Luckily, I was able to just move it backwards, which is super cool. Then I don't have to do that. These are your valve guides, which I've already put in. And then the head gasket's underneath here. So that's awesome. There's your head gasket. Be very careful with it, don't jack it up. Alright, so we're just going to put on the water pump right now. I mean the water pump thermostat. Not even the water pump. We're going to put on the thermostat! Oh my god, I can't even talk. Alright, so at this point you really kind of need instructions, and I'm not a one that believes in a lot of instructions. Do I?
No.
No. But on head gaskets, you need your instructions because it's got a lot of information that you need to be able to put it on. There's no room for error when you're putting a head gasket on at this point. The rest of the stuff, you know, putting on a power steering pump, if something fails with that, great. But with the head gasket, no room for error. We got to make sure that it's right the first time, every time. Now it's raining.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then we may just wait for it to slack up on the rain a little bit. I don't want to try to do it in the rain. Basically, I cut the heads off of two of the old head bolts, right? And these are going to be my guide bolts. I'll make sure they're cleaned off there. There we go. That was good. No reason to put metal into the engine. That would be awesome. In fact, let me do this real quick. You can stop for a second. Okay, so I actually cleaned off the edges because I didn't really want to put any metal back in the motor. That would be awesome. Okay, so these are just going to be our alignment dowels to align the head up as we set it down, because this has no alignment pins. So basically it goes on the number 8 and the number 10 holes. So one of them goes here and one of them goes in the very back. And these are your alignment dowels for your head gasket. How cool is that? So you're basically going to just set your head down over these, and it's going to let the head rest correctly. Now I think that's going to be in the way. Let me see if I'm going to have to move that real quick. That's the water pump bypass. Okay. Straight shot, straight down. Remind me, I got to turn that back though. Okay. So now we got our dowel pins on and we're ready to set our head in. And I'm going to just double check my instructions if it has any weird stuff on there. Coat the bores with clean engine oil. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll put some engine oil in the cylinder bores real quick. Okay, I don't know if I would have thought about that, but that makes sense. Put a little oil down in there so on startup it doesn't scar it or something. Here's our new head gasket. And this is aftermarket, so it's pretty cool. It says top. I'm trying to figure out what that means. On the factory head gaskets, it'll just have a number here, and that's the top of it. But this is an aftermarket Felpro gasket, much better than the AutoZone crap you could get. And so we're going to set this down over our head, over our dowel pins, and that looks freaking beautiful. Okay. Okay, and at this point, it's saying go ahead and set the head down, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to put the head down, make sure that I don't have anything that's going to impinge on me letting this go down over the head gasket itself. It looks really, really good. Everything's going along good. I'm going to do one last check, make sure there's nothing. Probably just wipe it off real quick on the head itself. It's been sitting outside. Make sure there's no dirt or yuck. Mark did a great job of machining it down. Looks really good. And if you're wondering if this is heavy, it is. So I'm going to set it over my guide pins. Okay, I got this one. Now I'm just going to let her slide down. And not smash my fingers, because that is the easy thing to do. Make sure I'm not hitting anything. It's hitting in the back there, Christian.
It's hitting the back?
Right here. Hang on.
Yep, I see it.
Hitting on that one exhaust stud, so we're just going to push that out of the way a little bit. There we go. The head is sitting on our engine. Okay. Now it's telling me to coat bolt number 7, which is a long bolt. There's two bolt sizes. There's a long and a short on the 2.5. And this is the long and this is the short. Number 7 is in the front. Now imagine, because it's close to a water jacket or something, they're saying use a thread sealant. This is a Permatex. On number 7 only, it says. Leave it to Jeep is all I can say. At the parts store, they tried to give me one thing, and I said, well, that's not what I need. Oh yeah, that'll work, no problem. But you know what? The factory does this for reasons. And I believe that if they're saying to do it one way, then you might as well do it that way. If it's just a matter of buying the right part. Okay, so we're going to coat this pretty good with thread sealant. Make sure that the threads are closed off well. And it's got to be something with the water jacket, evidently. Alright, and it says only, so don't do it on the other ones. Okay, so we've got our sealant on number 7. And we're just going to go ahead and just start it just a hair. And then it says go ahead and put the rest of your head bolts in. Except for this one and that one, because you can't put them in. There's a dowel pin in there. How retarded is that? Okay, we're going to gently just get them all started. Because there's still a little wiggle in it right now. And like yesterday, if you watched the video, the prior video, you'll know that for 20 bucks I went ahead and got a set of head bolts, and that is some cheap insurance that your bolts aren't warped or they're going to put the correct torque on your engine. So we're just starting all the bolts. These long ones go on the outer edge. And you can wiggle it just a little bit, it won't hurt it. And I think this is a really retarded design, the way they did the heads on these, truthfully. Okay, and then it says you can go ahead and install the ones where your dowel pins were. So that's one of our dowel pins we're going to take out. This is an old one. No, it's a new one. That's new. I don't know how I ended up with extras, but it's got extras. And then I'm going to take out my back dowel pin. Right, there's that one. And we're going to put our other one back there. I'm going to get it started. And I'm going to double check, make sure I got all the head bolts in, because I've got extras. And I do. There's 5 on either side. There is no more than this. So somehow I ended up with an extra bolt. That's extra. I know it's not an old one, because those are all brand new. Okay, so evidently we got an extra one in there somehow. Whatever. And if you look at your instruction manual, can you see that? Mm-hmm. It's going to give you your sequence of which bolts to tighten first, and that's what we're going to follow. It's saying, first of all, tighten it to 22 foot-pounds. So that's what we're going to do, and you're going to start here and then go to here. And then you're just going to follow this sequence of tightening your bolts up to 22 foot-pounds. Yeah, 22. And okay, so I got it set at 22 pounds, which is really not much at all. And I've got my modified socket that we had to modify last night to go over these bolts, because it's retarded. Because it's Jeep, what do you expect? So I'm just going to go ahead and get them bottomed out first. Okay, so we're going to do number 1. And we're doing 22 foot-pounds. Okay, then we're going to go 2 is over here. This is 3 over here. And I'm going to probably fast forward through this so you can watch, but I'm just going to follow the tightening sequence. Okay, and this is where we're cranking down on. This is 110 foot-pounds of pressure. This is pretty good. And we're going to go through 1 through 6 on this. Make sure I stay at 110. Okay. Now it's saying back it off to 100 foot-pounds for number 7. 7 is this one. So I don't know why, but we'll do it. What the heck. 10 pounds of tension is supposed to make a difference, but that's what Jeep says, so that's what we're going to do. And then it says do the rest of them at 110, so run it back up. It says do not over tighten bolt number 7. Great. So we torqued number 7 at 100 foot-pounds and everything else is 110. So we're done with the head. It's on. Everything else is pretty much a piece of cake. We will keep on moving on, getting her put back together. Okay, and then the next thing we have to do is put our push rods and our rocker arms back on. I got to look up what the torque specs are on it, but this is how they came off, and you want to make sure that you put them on just like they came off. You don't want to get them mixed up. And that's really because each one specifically wears to the engine itself, and you don't want to swap them around. You might not have any problems if you swapped them around, but it's better if you don't. Randy's here!
Yeah.
He's coming over to inspect. What do you think?
I think you got a ways to go.
I don't know. I got to double check that gasket. I can't remember if the metal side goes to the engine or to the outside. I think it goes to the engine though.
That makes sense.
That would make sense, but that doesn't mean it makes any sense. We got the rocker arms on. I'm cleaning out the intake. You always get a bunch of stuff down into the holes, so you got to clean those out relatively well so the O-rings don't get messed up when you put your injectors back in it. So that's kind of where we're at. The rocker arms are torqued down to 21 foot-pounds. These are 21 foot-pounds a piece. Same half-inch bolt. So that's where we're at on this.
Nice. Is there a mouth?
Randy has a story that I didn't even know, and I know everything because I'm so smart.
Yeah.
But
Which one? Which story?
The story about the Slinky.
Oh, the Slinkies.
Yes, the Slinky story.
Yeah.
This is a little added bonus for the Redneck Garage.
That's right.
Okay, so
My hometown, Muskegon, Michigan. There's a factory called Muskegon Piston Ring, and Slinkies came from somebody having a bright idea, because piston rings, when they were made, before they're cut, they were huge Slinkies. They would come out like that, and you get in 4-inch diameter, 3-inch, or whatever.
yeah,
And we used to go, when I was a young kid, we used to go by their dumpsters, and they only were about 2 blocks from my house,
yeah.
and dive in there and find big Slinkies. And somebody had the bright idea to manufacture this to the kids, you know.
Basically take a small engine ring and say, it's a Slinky, it's Slinky, it's for fun, it's a wonderful toy, it's Slinky, a fun for a girl and a boy. That's Slinky? That's it!
Slinky,
Awesome!
He knows the song.
Yeah, so there you go. I grew up with Slinkies, and you never knew that was actually engine rings that hadn't been cut. So there you go, just a little added bonus from the Redneck Garage of something you didn't even know, and you go, wow, that's cool. What'd you think of that? Did you think that was cool?
That was pretty cool.
Huh?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you better answer, boy. This is his car, see, so I got him over the barrel. He has to say, oh, Dad, you're so cool.
It's bending me over right now.
That was a good story, though. That'll hurt.
Oh,
Okay, don't do that.
I already did.
All right, so we got the alternator back on, got the compressor back on, got the bracket for that back on, got the intake on, and I'm cleaning that up. About ready to start working on putting the intake on, and yeah, we got the belt hoses. I'm about to put the valve cover on, so we're moving right along. It's looking good. All right, we got everything back on except for a couple vacuum lines that I got to trace out, but other than that, we're gonna ready to test fire it. Run. What do you think, Randy?
Sounds good.
We had a real good knock and figured out that the last 2 spark plugs were reversed because Randy reversed them or something. I don't know. It couldn't have been me. Right?
Do my hands look dirty?
Oh, I got Jerry hands. Jerry hands. I didn't wear gloves like a wuss.
Is that full?
Yeah, I'd leave it right there for a minute. You need to put some in here. Running good. What do you think, baby? Huh?
Running well.
Okay. Now it'll have to sit here for a week for the head gasket to seal up. Yeah. All right, it's been running for about 30, 45 minutes. Sounds like a kitten. Old 2.5 AMC motor. Awesome. So it's complete. 2 days turnaround. All right, so that's basically 2.5 head gasket replacement. It's really not that difficult if you go step by step. The most critical part is when you're putting the head on. Make sure that you are torquing it to specs, that you read your factory manual and do all the correct torques on your rocker arms and your head. The rest of the stuff, I don't usually torque stuff like exhaust manifold and things like that. I just get them, as Jerry would say, retard tight. But overall, it's running really. It actually runs better than it did before, and I don't know how much leakage was actually going into the antifreeze originally, but it wasn't getting into the oil. So I was very happy with that. A 2-day turnaround on getting it done. Mark did me a solid by getting the head in and out of the machine shop in 1 day, and that was unheard of. That was awesome. So that's it. If you have any questions or comments about it, just post them below. I'll be happy to answer it. But like I said, the 2.5 is a really simple engine to work on for the most part. You just got to go step by step, taking all your externals off, and then removing and putting the head is your critical part about making sure that it's super clean, that you get the gasket on straight, those kind of things. Other than that, I was very happy with the job. It was pretty quick, and Christian helped me. Maybe he learned a little bit. David from Redneck Garage, keep turning wrenches.